Welcome to Executive Points of View. I'm Joe Marroquin. I'm here with my co-creator Grant Shih. We're going to talk a little bit about data overload and too much data.
Yeah, it's unavoidable these days. You go out to obviously things like your doctor's office, you go and fill out government forms, you go to the supermarket and everyone's asking for your information.
We're recreating it. We're recreating the same information all the time. I think that's one aspect of it. I think another one is we just, as corporations, we just hoard too much information that we don't use.
That's right. I think we've gotten into this mindset of taking advantage of how easy it is to collect data.
Yeah.
And it's so innovative in the different methods we can to get information from our customers, from our users, and being able to store at a much lower cost and rate than we ever have. But I question if we've actually taken the time to think through what we're actually going to do with that data.
And I think there's some great tools that are out there in the market to go after information and glean insights into the information, but there's just some information that becomes dated very quickly. So I think there's a longevity issue with some of these things. And then there's also, some of the information is just junk. It's like, are you really going to glean something really valuable from just repetitive data that you're just recording over and over?
Yeah, fairly recently in an organization, my team and I were asked to move 3 petabytes of information that marketing had collected on customers. And obviously, as you know, there's a huge cost to migrating that information and then storing it and making it accessible. The problem was there was no purpose behind it. To my knowledge, to this date, no one has ever accessed or attempted to use that data that was collected, but there was a pain of the thought of losing that information because of the amount of money it took to collect it and the effort it took, and yet there was no business value or purpose behind it.
I think that's, if you work in certain fields, like if you do like chemical research or things like that, you expend a lot of energy doing research and generating data that you can then apply a tool set to, and that's kind of timeless to an extent. You can always use that research, but a lot of times when you look at different fields in different areas, like operations or marketing, some of that, the useful life of that data, depending on the data, can be quite short.
Yeah, and think about the user experience that you're forcing on your customers in the pursuit of that collection.
You gotta be careful about that.
Yeah, I don't enjoy going to the supermarket anymore because it's too much. I just want milk and bread, and I'm being asked for contact information and preferences, and
they want to track you where you walk in the store at different times.
Right. And so as a user, that experience erodes, and the end result is it doesn't really change what I need, and all it does is kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth.
I mean, I don't care if I am tracked in the store, so long as it has zero impact on me, right? Mm-hmm. So if I don't care if a store knows what aisles I'm walking in or where I spend my time, but if I'm being prompted to do something, if my process is being interrupted, then that's problematic for me from a user experience.
Yeah,
customer experience perspective.
I think a lot of organizations get into that hoarding mentality, and it's no different than some people in their homes have basements and closets and attics full of just stuff. And when it's time to move, it's a cost.
You got to take
it. You got to take it. You move it, and it's because you've accumulated it, and you're kind of, it hurts your heart to have to let that go.
You can't sort it. So many people purge when they move, and that's when you change data centers or things like that. It's a good time to purge. Unfortunately, you're busy moving, and you don't have, at that point, it's a really bad time to sort and to go through and say, that's my Babe Ruth trading card that my grandfather gave me. You just don't have time to look for that. That sorting exercise needs to happen at a different time.
That's right. So with this problem, Joe, what do you think a way forward to solve it for corporations could be?
I think being very purposeful about what data we need in order to run our business. What do I need in order to run my business, in order to elevate my field? And I think just because there's a pile of data out there, that doesn't mean, of repetitive data, that doesn't mean that that's going to elevate my game or help me run my business. And I think we really have to sit down and think about that and say, what do I need to run my business with operations and compliance and just keeping my customers and all those things. And then, is there some data that I'm missing out on that I need to, focus on, apply a tool set to really kind of move my game forward? But then beyond that, I think I have to be careful. I'm not going to be able to use the information for, 36, 48 months out. That's a long way out. And unless it's real research, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think we've got to do a better job of keeping the end user and the customer experience in mind. That people often don't want to be caught into that data collection game, and a lot of times it results in an eroded experience, and people remember that about your organization more than anything else.
If you want me to put the coupons, I want this one.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for tuning into this episode of Executive Points of View.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.